You recognize that tune, and you know it's time for Relics Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting and relic hunting. You can call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. You're listening to Relics Radio of Southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. And you are live on Relics Radio. It is December the 20th. Ho, ho, ho. I tell you what, Christmas is just around the corner. And we're in the Christmas spirit again. You know, last week we tried to give a metal detector away and never did get a response. And so we're going to do that again tonight live on Relics Radio. We're going to give away a MineLab Go Find 44. And here's the trick, guys. You're going to have to be listening, and you're going to have to call in. We're going to try and give you about 10 minutes to call in and claim the detector. But I want to tell you something, Jeff. We're going to give that baby away tonight, ain't we?
Yeah, we've got to give it away, buddy. I mean, we've had it too long now, and we need to get it in somebody's hands that can use it. So.
And I tell you what, I'm like old Hal Relic Hunter here tonight. I needed more shirts because nobody knows how much trouble that you go through just to get one of these shows started. And we had a snafu to start with stupid old Skype again, and we've been working frantically, but finally got everything up and going, and I think we're going to be all right for the show tonight.
Yeah, I believe it will. Of course, I don't check I'm not on my Skype as much as you are, and of course, when I went to get on Skype this evening, they'd deleted my account. So here I was 15, 20 minutes before the show, and now I'm scrambling trying to get my new Skype account up and going. So we finally got it going, and everything sounds good so far.
15 or 20 minutes? What are you talking about? It was 10 minutes till. We didn't get.
Oh no, I started on it before I even called you.
Okay, so. All right. I apologize for that. Then, nothing like just getting right under the wire. But I'm going to tell you something. I put out on our Facebook page. By the way, guys, if you're not on Relics Radio Facebook group page, you need to get on there because everything that we do here will be on that page. And I think that we have a lot of listeners here tonight because they realize that you're going to have to be on the show in order to win that. And also something else that I want to put out there. I was added as an admin on Adventures in History. Now, I tell you what, Mark Hoover was just looking for the oldest guy that he could find, somebody that was there whenever all the history was going on. And little did I know when I was sitting at the bottom of the platform listening to President Lincoln give the Gettysburg Address that one day I would be a host on a podcast and I would be an admin on Adventures in History.
Well, congratulations on that, man. That's a big deal right there. So if Mark added you in one of his groups, then that's real good.
Yeah, glad to be with those guys over there. And really what I'm doing is I'm doing my history clips that I do on all of my videos, which has it's been special. I mean, a lot of people have commented on all of that. And Jeff Gibbs said, I invented fire. I'm going to get to all you guys here in a minute and defend myself. But have you ever seen chat go as fast as it's going tonight?
Man, it is going by. I mean, I think I'm in a NASCAR race right now. It's flying by. And of course, we got a lot of them in there. We got Wes Stringer, we got James, got Gary Penton House. Good to see him here. Got Chris, got Matt with Gone Detecting, Ohio Relic Hunter. There's a half redneck in there. I see him. We got Jeff. We got Scott, James. We got Ron Reed in the house. Jeff Gibbs. Move on down a little bit. I don't want to say names twice, but I probably will. We got Bill Hayes in the house. Hey, we got Matt Purdue in the house. We got Missouri Mike. Man, there's just we got the Ford Master in the house. What about that? There's just a bunch of people in the house. Good gracious!
I know it. They're just, and you tickled me to death there a while ago whenever you said you thought you was in a NASCAR race. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, and they've got a bunch of them in Indianapolis, the circles where you get into a circle, and then there's 3 or 4 roads that lead out from that. We had one of those in Lubbock whenever I was just a teenager, and there were 3 lanes in this circle, and there was like 5 roads that went out from it. And somehow I got in the middle lane. Of course, back then, gas was $19.9 a gallon, and you could get 3.2 gallons for $1, and nobody ever bought more than $1 worth of gas. And I had $1 worth of gas, and we got hung up in the center, on the inside lane on that thing. We was going around and around and around, and I bet you we was 30 minutes in that thing going around. And there was a gas station over there, and I told the guys, I said, we got to get off this thing. We're going to run out of gas. And so there was an old woman that was fixing to come and pass us, and I just shot the gap and run into the gas station there real quick. And the guys, the attendants at the gas station, there's 3 of them run out. One of them set into washing the windshield. One of them throwed a jack up under the car and started jacking it up. The other one shoved a nozzle in and come up there to the window. He said, we're going to wash the windshield, change the left side tires, and fill you up with gas. Get out there. He said, right now you're in 3rd place. They had seen that so many times, I guess. But it was hilarious. Hey, we got a great show tonight. Not only that we're giving away a metal detector, but half of our guests are here, and we're going to have to do this kind of in segments, but half of our guests are here. Who is it, Jeff?
We got Drew. How do you pronounce that again?
Waholek.
Waholek.
What's going on tonight, Drew?
Not much. I'm throwing wrenches in the plans as usual. Just so that's why you only got half of us right now.
Well,
it's pretty much it's not really just my fault. Blame my boss for having a quadruple bypass.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
I blame him.
But that, those things are unforeseen. And for those of you that don't know and have been under a rock, we're going to have Jocelyn Elizabeth in a moment, probably closer to the bottom of the hour, probably 8:30 or so. And that was the plan all along, that you two were going to be together, and that one of you was going to be on while the other was putting the kids to bed, and then after they got to bed, then the other would come on, which would probably be Jocelyn anyway. So I don't think it's going to be any different tonight. But
I hope not. That's the goal. I mean, yeah. Sometimes those kids don't like to go to sleep. They'll go to bed, but Juliet, her daughter, she'll just lay there and talk. And there's been nights where it's taken her 2 hours to get her to go to sleep.
Drew, when go ahead.
I was going to say, that's what happens when you got a 5-year-old.
And what did you tell me that Jocelyn did to try and counteract against that this afternoon?
She said she was going to turn the clock ahead an extra half hour to make the kids think it was a half hour later.
Man, that's a great idea. I was telling Seven.
I know, right?
When y'all said to have them in bed by 8:30, well, my kids are in here. I'm lucky to get them in by at least 11:30 or 12, and I'm like, man, I need her to babysit mine for a while.
Yeah, I told Jeff, I said we're going to start out with Drew tonight is the plan, and then Jocelyn's going to call in once the kids go to bed and go to sleep, And Jeff said, well, that'll be 12:30 my time. I said, well, we'll leave the light on for her. Hey, Drew, for those...
Call this Motel 6.
That's right. For those people that don't know Drew Waholek, tell us your background and everything. Give us a little info on Drew.
Oh, geez, man. I mean, I've been detecting for about 14 years, but I've been into bottles and arrowheads prior to that. I mean, I something about playing in the dirt. I like playing in the dirt. I'm not much of a beach hunter. I'll do the beach every once in a while, but beach is really not my thing. But somehow I manage to pull gold off the beaches when I go once in a while, so I can't complain too much about that. But my background is mostly coins. You know, you got your guys that are hardcore relic hunters, but I have to consider myself more of a coin guy than anything. I mean, that's what I do for a living. So I get to see the collector side of the world and the digger side of the world, and mash the two worlds together and make a total mess. So, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, tell us about the coin side of that. You're in that business, aren't you?
Yeah. So basically, I'm okay. I do two different things. For the first part of my job, I am what's called a vest pocket dealer. So I'll go show to show, or I'll go to club meetings, and I'll do stuff online. I don't have my own personal brick and mortar store. So, however, I do run a brick and mortar store for another dealer. And there's other dealers that I work with and do some internet stuff for. So I'm pretty well networked in the business. And I keep building that network as much as possible, because you really have to. Because when you're dealing with things that have an extreme value, your reputation is everything. So if you have an awful reputation, nobody's going to want to do business with you. I mean, I had an instance of that just the other night, as a matter of fact, where one of my mom's long-term friends, she was looking for some silver eagles for Christmas gifts, and she went online and she was looking at reviews, and she brought up a specific shop, and I said, yes, I know that shop. I said, I know the owner real well. I said, they're good people. She said, oh, well, they got bad reviews online. I said, well, I don't know why. They're good people. I know them. I've known them a long time, and I trust them.
We're losing you, Drew.
Oh, I'd rather losing me.
Yeah, we're losing your signal there.
I got full signal on my phone here. So.
Well, you're just you're low. Your volume is low for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, I haven't changed anything.
No, that's better.
There you go. Yeah, you're good there now.
Is that better? Okay, I turned my call volume up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So she was in the market looking for these coins, and she went online and was looking at a local shop, and just got a bad taste because they had some bad reviews. And like I said, I've known these people a long time. I know they're good people, and I know they do good business. I trust them. I work with them. But she wound up buying the stuff from me because, obviously she's friends with my mom, which is cool. And she picked her stuff up tonight, was very happy. And, that word of mouth is going to help out a lot too, because that's what drives a lot of my business, is word of mouth. So I don't do a whole lot of advertising for my personal stuff, just because I don't need a ton of people showing up at my house looking to come on in here and try to get a score. So
I know what you mean, man. It'd be terrible.
So you don't want to give your address out then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you know what? It's funny, because when I ship out packages for Josh, like when somebody wins something, or if they want like an autographed picture, we use my address, because she doesn't want people having her address, because she's had some stalker issues, and and having two little kids at home. There's a safety issue there sometimes. And now my house, God bless you, if you can get through my front door and past my little arsenal here, hey, you can take whatever you want if you can get past. But good luck with that.
That's like my house. We've just got a big dog, and then of course, I mean, he'll lick you to death, but I mean, he'll make you think he's going to rip your legs off and beat you with them. But I mean, that's one of the best things I've had is the big dog. So,
Yeah, well, we got this little ankle biting thing here that'll lick you to death and help you rob the house. So can't do too much with that.
So actually, who got you into the hobby of relic hunting, bottle digging, and all that sorts?
I think a lot of it stems back to a lot of it really does stem back to my dad. Starting when I was real little, we would go and hit antique stores, and we'd look at a lot of old. I just have this thing for old stuff. I don't know what it is. It's always been there. One of my neighbors handed me a big bag of wheat pennies when I was 12, and that was 26 years ago. I started collecting coins. We had a coin club that used to meet up at the church on the corner of my block once a week, and I would go and hang out with all the old guys. And it was a Tuesday night, and literally it was 500 feet from my house. So it wasn't like I wasn't going very far, and my folks were totally comfortable with letting me go. Because one of the guys that belonged to the club was a coin dealer that my dad dealt with for years. So he just had total faith in letting me go up there. So over the years, I've belonged to him, and I lived in Central Illinois for 8 years. So I got away from the area, but when I moved back, I started going back to the clubs again, and now I'm an officer for one of them, and past officer for another one, and up until Monday night, I just kind of passed the torch along to the next gentleman for the Trenton Numismatic Club. I served 4 years as president of that club. I try to stay involved and just do as much as I can, and just meet as many people as I can, and I just. Again, it's reputation. You got to build a good reputation. So I've been doing that and working on that, and I was very fortunate to get the job in the shop, because most people don't get that opportunity. Again, you're dealing with things that are worth a lot of money. There's trust factor, and you're always worried about something getting ripped off. And I catch the occasional shoplifter in the shop. It's probably been about a year and a half since I caught the last one. But we've had them, it happens. But geez, back to your question. I think it was my dad. I really think him dragging me around and showing me antiques and old stuff and learning. I think that's what really sparked everything. When I was 15, 16 years old, I started getting into fossils a little more, so we started doing fossil and rock hunting trips. By the time I was 21, I was volunteering at the Academy of Natural Sciences in Center City, Philly, and I was working in the Paleo Prep Lab, putting dinosaur bones back together. I've just kind of explored a lot of stuff over the years, and it's funny because a couple weeks ago, my dad was going through some stuff, and I'm pretty sure I posted it on my Instagram, and it's literally my very first relic that I ever found. And I was probably about 8 years old. We were on a trip, and I happened to my dad was picking up rocks. He's looking at quartz, and I pick up this chunk of iron. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, check this out. This is a funny looking rock." And he looked at it, and he's like, "Yeah, it is, because it's not a rock. It's iron." So he held on to it, and a couple weeks ago, he goes, "Do you remember this?" And I said, "No." I said, I don't really remember what is it? I said, "I know what it is." I said, "Where did it come from?" And he says, "Well," and he told me the story about the trip and where we were and what we were doing. And now, mind you, this is 30 years ago. And so I really don't, I said, "I remember the trip." I said, "But I don't remember picking this up." I said, "Do you know what it is?" He says, "Yeah, it looks like a cannonball fragment." I said, "No, it's just definitely not a cannonball fragment. It's too small for that." I said, "Try again." And he said, "I don't know. It's iron. It looks like a cannonball fragment." I said, "It's a fragment from a 2.5-inch Confederate grenade from the Selma Arsenal."
Wow.
And that was your first relic. That was first relic that you
at 8 years old. That was my very first relic, and I didn't even know it until just maybe a month or so ago, at most.
Man,
so,
what a way
I would hit that.
That's That's one heck of a relic to pick up.
It really is. I would love to, if you could remember where that spot was.
Yeah. Hey guys,
I do remember.
Go ahead.
I do remember where that spot. Well, I do remember where that spot was, but I can't go there.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. We had one question in the chat from Matt Purdue. What is the best coin that you've dug?
The best coin I've ever dug. Ooh, that's tough.
Well, you can think about it after the short break here.
Yeah, we need to take a break and run a commercial, and we'll be right back, guys.
Hey, Seven, we's looking good in our new Relics Radio T-shirts.
Yeah, Ken and Mark Guthrie of DetectiveTees.com done brung them to us.
Yep. And they makes other shirts, too.
Yeah, boy. DetectiveTees.com can handle tees for your club, hunt, or any other promotion folks may have.
They even got the Wide Pride shirts.
Yeah, them boys does the manatee crawl.
Yeah, scooting on their bellies.
That's what I said. The manatee crawl.
Looks like slugs eating jelly.
So whether you hunt horizontal or vertical, tell the folks where they need to go, TJ.
www.detectivetees.com.
Oh, I wish I could get inspiration like that every night while I sleep. That commercial came to me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got a hold of Jeff Ford, Plugmaster Ford. He is the voice behind the infamous Slugs Eating Jelly commercial for DetectiveTees.com. Hey, guys, they do more than Relics Radio shirts. They do Beyond Sight and Sound. They do American Digger. They do History Seekers. And they will make a shirt for whatever club or event or anything else. And I tell you what, they are good quality shirts. The best shirts on the planet. Half redneck, says Mark Hoover, and he's not lying. Hey, Drew, did you figure out what your best coin is that you've ever dug?
You know, it's a tough call. I've got two favorites. One would be my hammered Spanish cob that I dug on September 11th, 2017, down in Maryland with my friend Brian, and Jocelyn was there. And that was right before her and I started dating. We were just kind of, friends and hanging out at that time, which was kind of cool. But with the toss up between that and the half of a counterfeit 1688 Dutch lion dollar.
Dutch lion
so
dollar.
I think those are my two. Because sometimes the counterfeit coins can actually be worth more than the real coin in certain instances, because a lot of them are unique. And this one happened to be made out of bronze with a silver wash. So it was, but one of the things that was wrong about it is it had the mint mark was from Utrecht in Holland, but that year Utrecht did not strike any lion dollars. So that's a dead giveaway right there. But besides the fact that it looks like it's bronze, that's another dead giveaway. But sometimes the counterfeit coins can actually be worth just as much, if not more, than the real deal.
See, I had found it was a 1836 $50, and I was looking at it when I dug it, and I was like, man, something. And of course, I could see the bust and the eagle on the back, and I was like, something's different. And it was made of pewter, and I mean, it was in really great shape. And then, of course, I'd done a lot of research on it, and then, of course, that's what I'd found out. A lot of your counterfeit coins go for quite a bit more than your original coins.
Yeah. I was in South Jersey a couple years ago with a couple guys, and we were on a site. It wasn't really producing anything old, so to speak, but I dug this little disc, and when you're out in the field, you really don't do a whole lot of cleaning on stuff, but it was holed, and I was like, well, this is kind of weird, and I knew it was like a white metal, like a pewter or a lead or something like that. and I stuck it in my pouch, and I didn't really think twice about it. So I stuck it in the pouch, and then I went and dumped a bunch of, like a couple days later, I go out again and I dump my pouch into the trash bucket in the trunk of my car, and it didn't even click with me. It was still in there. And then usually every once in a while, I'll clean that bucket out, sort it out, go through it, and I come across it again a couple weeks after I'd found it, and I went, oh, this is cool. I got to see what this is. So I hit it under some water, took a little brush to it, and started cleaning up the crusties that were stuck to it, and it was a counterfeit seeded $50.
Man,
so that's probably that's probably another one. Now, and the funny thing is like I've dug seeded quarters and seeded dimes and seeded half dimes, but I've never dug a real seeded half. So that's the only seeded half I've ever gotten. It's a phony.
But, I mean, that doesn't make any less. I mean, no. Look, there's more real ones out there than they are fakes. So. Yeah. I mean, now the guys that get coppers, there's a lot of contemporary counterfeit coppers out there. So you'll see more counterfeit coppers than you will. I mean, shoot, I got a whole book just on George III counterfeit coppers. I was showing it to Dave Wise, some time ago, and it's a really good reference guide. Man, I tell you what, I cannot stress this enough. You need to have a good library. You need the books. Internet's great. Internet's awesome. There's a lot of things on the internet, but there's a lot of obscure information that is not available just by doing a Google search. And this particular book that I have on George Coppers, it's pretty extensive. And it shows you the different dye variety. I mean, it goes into some really crazy detail. I mean, you really gotta want to read some of these books because they're very dry, but they can really help you out.
How widespread was counterfeiting of coinage back in the day in the 1700s, early 1800s?
Well, counterfeiting was punishable by death, so it was probably not very well known that it was going on, but it was going on. I mean, obviously, you're looking at, I've got a 1680s coin that was counterfeit, so I mean that's pre-1700. A seeded $50 that I can't make out a date on it or anything, but I can see the seeded Liberty and the Eagle on the reverse. You're talking those are 1830s, 40s up till the 1860s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was going on. I mean, the other thing they would do is they would shave some of the metal off, so then they would add security features. So if you look at your modern coins, like your quarters and your dimes and your $50, they have a reeded edge. Well, the reason that reeded edge is there is a security feature. So it was something that was added to milled coinage to keep people from shaving the coins and shaving silver off and basically adding up a little bit at a time to go make more.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, there you go.
And
you learned something.
Yeah, I did. And I didn't know the purpose for. I'll borrow that and use that in a history clip sometime on the reeded edges. Whenever I find something else got a reeded edge on it, but out of the reals that I have found, Spanish reals, I've got one. It's not a full one. It's a little over a quarter of a real, but it's made out of some kind of pewter lead. I mean, you can tell it's not silver, and you can tell that it was supposedly an 8 real. But, and I don't have that many reals. I've got less than a dozen, and one of them is counterfeit. So I was just wondering how widespread that counterfeiting was back in the day.
I know a good friend of mine, L.A. Gold, he found the mold at, I believe it was an old home site where they used to make counterfeit coins. And that was pretty neat. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was both sides to it.
Wow. Now that would be valuable, wouldn't it, Drew?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, most coins were either struck by hand or they were milled. However, there are some early Spanish coins, and I just bought one a few weeks ago for resale. It was minted 1811 in the Chihuahua Mint, which was a temporary mint setup. And what they were doing, they didn't have their own dies, so they were making molds and casting the coins from that particular mint for a short period of time. So normally when you see a coin and it's got a seam on the edge, usually that'll throw you off and you'll think it's a counterfeit. But no, there are actually some cast silver coins out there from back in way back in the day. They're very uncommon, very unusual. But they were counterfeiting. Absolutely anything. I mean, look, there are some people out there that are just downright dirty and despicable, and they want to get over on the next guy, and that's been going on since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
So sure, but you had to be very cautious. You didn't want to get caught because it was punishable by death.
Yeah, that's one thing I wouldn't be caught with is making counterfeit coins back in the day.
I wouldn't want to get caught trying to make counterfeit stuff today. They might not kill you, but and we've got a call coming in. History Hound Ben is calling in. What's going on tonight, Ben? Have you got a question for Drew?
Yeah, I sure do. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great.
Hello, Ben.
How's it going?
Going good. I finally get to catch one of these things live. I seem like I miss them every Thursday night because one thing or another, but I finally caught one live. But I was listening to you guys talk about counterfeit coins, and a subscriber of mine recently sent me a really cool coin. It was a U.S. trade dollar, and I just don't see much about that coin. I don't see many people dig them, but I have seen a couple, and the couple that I've seen dug have turned out to be counterfeit. And I was wondering if, Drew, have you run across, many trade dollars in your business, and are they counterfeited quite frequently?
I see the trade dollars quite often. And yes, they are counterfeited because they are a desirable coin. Those were not necessarily meant for circulation like, say, a Morgan silver dollar. They were meant for commerce and merchant-to-merchant trade. So you'll see them. They'll have little Chinese symbols stamped in them. Those are counter stamps. So when they were used for trade primarily with Asia. So when they were sent over there, the Asian merchant would get it, and he would weigh it, and he would do his little test on it to make sure it was real, and then he would take his counter stamp and strike that into the coin. And unfortunately, the grading services don't like those very much. They always come back with a damage tag, basically. I don't agree with them doing that. I think it adds character to the coin, number one. Number two, it adds more of a story to the coin. But the grading services, they look at that as damage to the coin. You've altered the coin. It is no longer numismatic in their eyes, which is a bunch of horse poo, because they're definitely very desirable. And there's people that collect them just based on those counter marks.
Yeah.
And they add a character to it. But yes, they do counterfeit them. I will tell you this, that there are a lot of things coming in from China. We have what's called the Hobby Protection Act of 1979, and part of that act states that anything that you manufacture that resembles a coin, like say a trade dollar, you have to mark it with the word copy. And a lot of the ones that are coming into the country are not marked with that word, and or facsimile or something to that effect, where it's not a real legitimate coin. And and they're coming into the country. You've got these sites like Alibaba and Top Hatter, and they're selling this stuff on there. But when they're coming into the country now, what they're doing is, because they made some changes back in 2014 where they didn't want that stuff coming in at all. So now what they're doing is they're lying on the customs forms, and they're saying like watch batteries on the customs form when you're ordering these coins. But they're getting better and better and better at doing it, because when a lot of them were starting to come out and show up, they're sticking to a magnet, and silver does not stick to a magnet. Unless you've got a rare earth magnet, a neodymium magnet, you're not going to get a magnet to have any kind of pull on that coin. But now they're making them out of non-ferrous metals, and they're not sticking to a magnet. I had some in the shop just a couple weeks ago that the weights were dead on. So the weight on a Morgan silver dollar is like 31.1 grams. And this kid had an 1895 Morgan dollar, which is a proof-only issue from Philadelphia with no mint mark, and it's an extremely rare and valuable coin. And it didn't stick to a magnet. It weighed exactly 31.1 grams, but the devices were still off. The numbers didn't look right. The letters didn't look right. So, feeling and touching them and looking at them, after so many years of doing that, you just get a feel for what they're supposed to feel like or look like. And then again, you have reference guides to help you figure out exactly what those, because they used several dyes. So there was a gentleman by the name of Walter Breen, and the guy was a genius. He was an absolute genius. He put together a whole encyclopedia on coins where you can see the proper dye characteristics that you're looking for on these key date coins and on these real deal things. And if they're not there, then chances are that coin's more than likely not legitimate. And that's the type of book that these grading companies will use when they're looking to give your coin a genuine factor. But the trade dollars are they're very desirable. And I don't, again, it wasn't something that was used for everyday person to person spending like the normal silver dollar was. And not only that, they weighed different. They were, I think, 420 grains. And they're marked right on the coin, 420 grains, 900 fine silver. You have all this stuff. It's literally right on the coin to tell you exactly what it is. Where a silver dollar, it's not. So
I love that. I love the history behind that coin. What you're talking about, how they stamp the weight on there. It's funny because I guess at the time, the U.S. was having to purchase silver from Mexico because the Asian market did not like the Morgan dollar, or the seated,
correct,
the seated dollar, and so they made this trade dollar just a little bit bigger, than the Spanish silver, and kind of opened the doors. But that kind of answered my question. What I was really kind of getting at was, how do I verify? Because the one that I've got is not counterstamped. And I'm definitely not a trained eye, but it looks good. And I was wondering, would that be worth sending in to get graded?
Well, the first thing that you can do for yourself to check it is, number one, see if it sticks to a magnet. That's number one. Okay. Number two, if you have a scale, see if it weighs 420 grains. And if it's circulated and it's got wear to it, it's going to be a hair light. It's not going to be exactly 420. It might be like 419, even like 418. It's going to be within a certain amount of tolerance to the weight that it's supposed to be, based on the amount of circulation it saw. So
yeah, it's hardly circulated. I mean, it's in good shape. I'll have to weigh that. I'm curious.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
so
those are the first two things I look at.
Okay. Awesome.
But now,
as
far as grading goes, if you're going to submit a coin, there are three major companies. Number one is PCGS. Number two is NGC. Number three is ANAX. With PCGS, you have to be a member of their collectors club or an authorized dealer to submit to PCGS.
Okay.
If you belong to their collectors club, I think it's like $200 for the year. They give you I want to say 8 submissions or 5 submissions with that membership. But the bad thing is you have to send all the submissions in at the same time, and they have to be the same type of coins. So when I say same type of coins, I mean you've got to submit 5 U.S. coins, or 5 U.S. gold coins, or 5 world coins, or 5 world gold coins. So you can't mix like a KG3 with a trade dollar with a gold coin. You can't play mix, match, and hodgepodge with them. You have to keep them subject specific. Now, NGC does the same thing. However, if you're a member of the ANA, which is the American Numismatic Association, you can submit your coins to NGC. The average cost is about $35 roughly by the time you tack on the shipping to and from and the cost of the grading. Now, if you have an error or a variety, they charge you like an extra $15 a coin for the attribution. Sometimes they'll reach out to you and say, "Oh, this coin is a candidate for conservation, and it's $50 to conserve the coin." I learned my lesson the first time I ever did it. I will never, ever, ever, ever do it again.
Okay.
I had a really good foreign coin, and they called me and said, "Hey, this is a good candidate for conservation." Basically, you're paying them to clean your coin, which is something we always harp on people for doing. And when it came back to me, it came back with a damaged label saying it had surface hairlines. Well, you know what? That coin didn't have either that coin didn't have surface hairlines when it went in, or the color of the coin and the dirt on the coin was masking that stuff. So once you remove that, then you can see that stuff. So it's like, you know what? I'm not giving you my $50 ever again. You guys can kick rocks.
Yeah.
Now you have a third option, which is ANAX. Now ANAX stands for American Numismatic Association Certification Service. However, the ANA no longer owns ANAX. It is privately owned. They had a situation some years ago where a 20-something-year-old kid was working for them, did some really low stuff, and gave them a bad name. ANA wound up selling it. It is the oldest grading service. It is the original grading service. They've been working really hard to build their reputation back up. I actually prefer to use them especially for my errors and varieties. They have an excellent team that knows how to attribute errors and varieties. And you don't have to be a member. You can submit 1 coin, or you can submit 100 coins. They, no questions asked. I know Dave Wise has a chain scent, and he came to me and asked me some opinions on sending it in for grading. And I told him, I said, listen, if you just want to get it in a holder and you want to know if it's real, send it to ANAX, let them put it in a holder. It's going to come back. I already knew it was going to come back with environmental damage because it's, obviously a copper coin that's been in the ground, but they'll at least give it a grade. So I think his came back, I hope I'm not misspeaking, but I think it came back XF details, environmental damage, which is still worth several $1,000s regardless. I mean, the chain scent is like, oh, that's an awesome coin. But you have to really know the nuances of using the grading services. And I always tell anybody, if your coin is not worth at least $200, it's not cost effective. Don't waste your money unless it's like a key date or something that you really need to guarantee the authenticity of it, like say an 09 SVDB wheat cent. That's the type of thing, or 55 double die. The coins that are desirable, that people are counterfeiting to try and get one over on the next guy, you really should. It's a good idea. Now, I'm old school. I like to touch my coins. I like to fondle them, and I like them in albums. I don't like them in plastic slabs where I can't touch them. So generally, if I'm sending a coin in, it's got to be a really good coin for me to send it in. So unless no, go ahead.
It's the only coin that I own that I would even consider. I like taking my coins to schools, and the kids want to touch it. So if it's slabbed, it doesn't matter what it is; it automatically loses a little bit of interest. So the verdict's still out for me. I may or may not, send that in. The kids really like that coin, though. They really do.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, because it helps them, like, by being able to touch that coin, it sort of connects them to the past, and you're holding something that's over, 200 years old, or almost 200 years old, and just it's kind of neat just to have that big heavy chunk of silver in your hand. But if you're going to play and toy with the idea of doing it, and you've never done it before, I would highly suggest, especially if you don't plan on really selling the coin, it's something you're going to hold on to for a long time. I would recommend going with ANAX. Let them put it in a holder for you. Let them slap a grade on it. It'll protect the coin. It'll preserve the coin. It'll keep the kids from getting their fingerprints all over, because that's like one of the cardinal sins of collecting is touching the obverse or the reverse of the coin with your fingers, because you have oils in your fingers. It's like proof coins. The first time you ever touch a proof coin on the face of it and you get that fingerprint on there, there's nothing you can do to get that off of there. And if you try to polish it off, that surface is so smooth and so mirror-like that any kind of tiny little grit is gonna cause scratches, or surface hairlines, as they like to call them, on that coin. So to me, for a trade dollar, number one, it would guarantee its authenticity for you, and two, it would protect your coin. You can always find one that's not real and let them pass that around. Let them touch and fondle the not real one, which is okay, because you're not going to hurt it. They could drop it on the floor. I mean, just example there. God forbid one of those kids has it in their hand and it slips out of their hand and it hits the floor, and you get a nice big rim ding. Now, that'll kill the value of the coin. So condition is everything.
It won't ever be something that I sell or anything like that. And to be honest with you, I kind of wish it was counterstamped, because that does just add a whole nother element to the story. That would be really cool. But I'm not crying that I've got one that isn't, but that is cool to see. Well, Drew, I'm going to let you guys go.
Hey, great call, Ben.
Yeah, great call.
I tell you what, Ben called in. That's like saying sick 'em to a dog. he got Drew wound up, but we do appreciate the call, and we need to take a break, and we'll be right back. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garriott, XP Deus, and macro detectors and supplies, and he is now an authorized dealer for MineLab. So if you're looking to get your hands on one of the new Equinox 600 or 800, then Tim's your guy. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any question that you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim Henderson of Mary Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 and be sure and tell him that Relics Radio sent you. And by the way, later in the show, we're going to give away that Mind Lab Go Find 44 courtesy of Tim Henderson and Murray Branch Outdoors. So all you guys want to stick around for that, because you've got to be on the show, and you're going to have to call in within 10 minutes whenever we do that. And we have finally got Jocelyn on the phone. What's going on? Are the kids asleep?
Finally.
Come
and you know
in.
what? I even set the clocks. I changed the clocks tonight in the kitchen. So when they looked at the clocks when I said it was 8:30 and it was actually 8 o'clock, they wouldn't know that it was only 8 o'clock to get them in bed early so I can make the podcast. And they just go to sleep.
I need to start doing that here.
Well,
then I'll be getting sleepy earlier, probably, is what the only thing will happen there.
Yeah, come in here and save us from Drew. I tell you what, he's talked our ear off.
Man, he's been a good
Well,
talker.
you got him talking about coins.
Yeah.
See, I had two questions, Drew. He's still on, right?
Yeah, he's still on.
I think so.
Yep, I'm here. Yep.
All right, for the average metal detectivist, what would be the best book to have for coins?
Oh, everybody's got to have a red book. No questions asked. I mean, when it comes to U.S. coins, it's going to have all the information that you're ever going to want on anything that's pre-colonial, through colonial, through post-colonial, and into the U.S. mint struck stuff. It gives you the weights. It gives you the mintages. It gives you an idea of which ones are the rarer coins that you're looking for. It gives you pictures. Now, one that I will stress: do not ever pay red book prices. Do not ever expect to get red book prices. Mm-hmm. If you want to insure a collection, use red book prices. The cover of the book will say 2019. It was printed in 2018, but the pricing was gathered in 2017. So they're off. And some of the coin pricing is based on the gold and silver market of the time. So obviously, if you're not familiar with keeping an eye on spot prices and stuff like that, it's going to throw you way off. However, they have an answer for that. They have what's called the Blue Book. And the Blue Book is what is much closer to what you should be buying and selling at as the average collector. Dealers use a product called the Gray Sheet, and the Gray Sheet is a monthly publication, and it's more accurate, up to date on what things are trading for from, between dealers and what they're paying and what they should be selling it for. And it's more accurate, but you're also going to be paying, I think it's like $400 a year for a subscription. So unless you really have a need for the Gray Sheets, you just don't want to spend that kind of money. Yeah. The Red and the Blue Book are the two books if you're doing U.S. coins, and even some of the colonial stuff is in there, like the Jersey Coppers and your New Yorks, Massachusetts, stuff like that. Those are in the Red Book. And the Red Book is going to have all the information, where the Blue Book is going to be mostly just pricing. It's going to have some information, but not to the extent of the Red Book.
I don't know what kind of people we got on here tonight, Jeff, because they're picking which book that they want to send to the insurance company. They're running their clocks up 30 minutes to trick the kids.
I'm thinking of Jocelyn when she's out metal detecting, she finds a coin. Well, she's got a walking encyclopedia right next to her, so he leaves out all the guesswork.
I know it. Have you ever done?
Except when she finds Except when she finds a totally wiped copper and then starts seeing horse heads on there, and I'm like, no, it's a magical unicorn you're seeing. It's not a Jersey copper. Go away.
Don definitely confirmed today that it is a New Jersey copper, my second one. But I don't want to hear that.
No. What's the
blah blah blah? I'll find one eventually.
What's the best coin that you've ever dug out, Jocelyn?
Oh gosh, probably my favorite coin has got to be the coin I dug in England, which was a 1553 French Teston. It's about the size of a $50, and that's probably my favorite because it was an experimental coin. So they were experimenting. They were transitioning from hammered coins into milled coins. So it wasn't like an official coin, but it's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
I'd love to have it back.
I don't even know.
But
yeah, I don't even know what that looks like. I mean, I'd have to go and Google that. I've never heard of that.
I don't even know if you could find it on Google. But it's
really?
on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know, Andrew. Are they on Google? I don't know. They're pretty rare. I think.
Yeah. I don't see us finding one in Tennessee and Kentucky.
No, I don't think so.
You know what though? Don't discount it, man. Because you know what? I never thought I'd find a Dutch lion dollar somewhere in South Jersey. So I mean, hey, you know, you never know what you could come up. Listen, I had a signal in one of my permissions, and I swore it was going to be an aluminum can. And I have never dug a U.S. silver dollar. And it was a very shallow, loud signal, and it was coming up silver dollar numbers, which to me is just automatic smushed aluminum can. I don't really care, but I'm going to get it out of the way. And I was not careful, and I wound up digging an 1898 German 5 mark, which is the same size, diameter, and silver content as a U.S. silver dollar, just not U.S. And I put a nice big healthy gouge right across the monarch's head. So. Don't think that you're not going to find something that you could. You never know. I never thought I'd ever find a 3,000-year-old Egyptian statue in a Manhattan outhouse, but I did. So you never ever know what you're going to come across.
Man, that's right. I don't guess you do.
No,
well, maybe we ought to start digging all them canned signals.
That would be an eye-opener right there, I'll tell you. Hey, Jocelyn, I know that you saw that we had show prep on, and we got some questions that people were wanting to ask,
yeah.
And I wanted to wait until you came on to where both of you could argue back and forth. How did you guys meet?
Oh, God.
You go ahead and take this one.
Well, we actually had a mutual friend who introduced us, and originally we were going to go into business together. As you know, Drew is very fond of coins, and he was thinking of maybe getting into antiques and whatnot. And so we were talking, and I had owned my own estate sale business. So we just, our friend Mary got us talking together, and we ended up dating, and the business stuff kind of got pushed off to the side. And, yeah, I don't know. Andrew, does that sound about right?
Yeah. I mean, basically it was, I was going to have her working for me at one point, and
now you're working for her?
Oh, okay. Yeah, pretty much.
No, that's right.
Yeah. See there? You opened your mouth whenever you ought to just stayed shut up. She handled that well, and here you come in, and how did you get that big old foot in that mouth is what I'm wondering. Oh, me.
Jocelyn, this one was for you. What happened to the miniature dinosaur that you found at a colonial relic hunt with Aqua Chigger?
He did end up finding that, I do believe. Isn't that right, Andrew? You had asked him about that. I think he found it.
Yeah, he did find it. Yeah, that was something that Bo dug.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. And then David Harsh wanted to know, he said that, I guess it's in the intro on your videos, there's a lion head. He wants to know, is that a War of 1812 snake buckle or part of one?
Where is it? Oh, no. That was when I was in England, and it's actually, I don't know what it is, actually. And I'm not sure they were really able to identify it. But I dug it in England, and I think it's pretty old. I'll have to actually figure out. I have to message them about that piece because I never really got.
She still hasn't gotten.
I still haven't gotten anything.
Yeah, you still haven't gotten that stuff back. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been over a year.
Man, I was wondering how long that took to get all that stuff back.
It doesn't usually take that long. So
they must have found something they like.
Yeah. Well, one of the coins I did find was part of a hoard. So I'm not sure if that's what's holding it up or what, but I want my other stuff back. I mean, the hammered coin is cool, but it's just like this itty bitty little thing with like a little mark. I mean, I want my French coin back. That's the size of a $50, and the other stuff would be nice too, you know. But I think maybe the hoard coin is holding things up a little bit. But it would be nice to have my stuff back. But that face, it's actually a face, and it's pretty big. It's pretty large. I think it was part of a saddle accoutrement, possibly. I think it's Gothic style. So I think maybe, I want to say early 1800s, but there was some speculation that it could be sooner, and it could actually be Medusa's head.
Oh, really?
Like an earlier thing. Yeah. So it was kind of like they weren't sure if it was Gothic or if it was sooner than that. So that's why I'm not really clear on the answer. I don't think I ever did get an answer on whether it was one or the other. So,
you know,
it is very cool.
All of us that metal detect, we can just only imagine going to Europe and swinging a detector and digging in. How awesome is that to pull out some stuff that is really, really, really old? It's really incredible. I mean, when I started detecting, I never in a million years imagined that I would ever be where I am. And it's been such an adventure. It really has. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, how did this even happen? I've been really blessed with a lot of opportunities, and you know, being able to travel over there and dig this stuff that's like super old. I can tell you, it's such a rush, and it's so weird digging over there because you're not used to the signals. Like the first time we got over there and we went out in the field, and I'm like, okay, what signals do I dig? Like I don't even know what coins bring up as over here. Like I don't even know. Like so you're digging everything. Yeah. And
it takes a while to figure out. Okay, so this is this could be a coin. So tin foil, like shreds of tin foil, bring up the same as a hammered coin.
Oh, Lord.
So like in the 40s, even on like the AT units. So it's like I dug so many shreds of tin foil hoping to find a hammered. I did eventually find one hammered coin while I was over there, but it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to dig everything. And then again in the Netherlands, just relearning all those signals. But it's just about, digging the repeatable stuff. But
and I know some people are going to have the same question that I do. Obviously, you are connected with and a representative of Garriott Metal Detectors, and
yes.
You use the AT series. How do you set up your AT Max out in the field to hunt? What are your settings on that?
Well, I usually run in custom. It kind of depends on the site that I'm on, to be honest. If I'm in an open field and it's quiet, I'll sometimes run it in 0. But, if we're at a home site or we're in a field where there used to be a home site, I'll usually run it in custom. I'll have my iron disc set to about 28. I have my iron audio on. My threshold, I usually have at a constant hum, usually at 1 or 2. Depending on how much coffee I've had, and my kids are like, so if I have a headache, it's a little bit lower. Yeah, I think that covers it. Those are the settings I use. Is that it? Iron disc is on. Andrew, iron disc is on. Custom. 28 discrimination, and sometimes I'll bump that up or down depending on what I'm digging,
Right.
It really depends. I just, it's one of those where I go in with the settings and I adjust according to the site.
Right. Which everybody has to do, no matter.
Yeah.
And from one site to another, if you get on a house site, you're going to have a lot of square nails or a lot of iron there, and so
exactly.
Now, how do you pick the coil that you're going to use, or do you use the stock coil, or are you?
I do.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on the site. If we're going to be out in the field, I will occasionally use an aftermarket coil, and we do use Mars coils, which I don't think people usually hear about Mars coils. They are different than the NAL coils, but they're interchangeable between your machines, which we like because Drew runs the AT Pro. I run the AT Max and the AT Gold, and we can have one coil and switch them between all the machines. So we don't have to have, okay, so this coil, we pay $200 for it. It goes for the Gold. This one, $200 for the AT Max. We can just have one coil and switch it between all the machines. And the target separation is really good. But we'll, if we're going out in the field, we'll use the aftermarket coils. But for home sites, like today, for instance, I was out in a yard, and there was a lot of trash. There was just a ton of iron, and I actually we had been in a field the time before, so I had the big coil on, and I called Drew after, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. I should have had the 5x8 on there because I couldn't get between the signals. It was just so concentrated with trash. So again, it depends on the site, what coil we're using, but the stock coils are great. They'll get the job done.
That's great. If Drew buys a coil, then you get to use it and vice versa. I mean, y'all never have to buy the same coil like everybody else. I was going to ask you, Jocelyn, how long have you been relic hunting, and what got you into relic hunting?
I think it's been 3 or 4 years now. I've always, as a kid, I grew up in New England. I'm a New England girl at heart. I grew up in Rhode Island. Well, I was born in Cape Cod. I moved to Kansas for 3 years, which is just random. But then we moved back, and I lived in Rhode Island. And, as a kid, I'd go back in the woods, follow the stone walls and the cellar holes, and we had bottle dumps out in the back in the middle of the woods. And I'd go back all day just scrounging through the bottle dumps and drag a bunch of bottles home. And we had this old dilapidated chicken coop, and I just fill it with bottles. And my parents are like, what is wrong with her? But that's how it all started. It was, just all these bottles that I would drag home. And so I've always just loved old stuff. And then in my 20s, I'd say, I kind of got into picking. When I was 24, I started my own estate sale business. So I have always had this attachment to old stuff. And
is that why you're dating me? Because I'm old.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Stop it. He said it so nobody else had to. That's what he just did. And so I think the next logical step in my treasure hunting journey was to pick up a metal detector. So I put a plea out on Facebook, and I was like, what's a good metal detector to get for a beginner? And I ended up with an Ace 250, and it just kind of escalated from there. I got my next one was an AT Pro, and then I had the XP Deus, and then I had the Racer for a little while, the Forest Core, and then I think I had the White's MX Sport, and then I went back to the Garriott, so I had the AT Gold, and now the AT Max. So I've been all across the board. I don't think people realize that I've used a lot of different machines. They're all like, oh yeah, she just uses Garriott. But I've had my hands on quite a few different machines. So
yeah, I wondered about that.
Drew's in a good spot because he doesn't have to explain to you why he needs another metal detector. You already know why he needs another metal detector.
Yeah, it's true. He doesn't have to justify, I need another mug. Okay, fine, that's fine, yep. Although when I need a new camera, I have to, well, I need a new camera because this one doesn't have the stabilization of that. It's only $800 though, babe. Yeah. Only $800, and
you just work with the camera that you got. It's good enough.
Hey, that's what my wife says about my detector when I want another one. You just work with the ones that you've got. Hey, guys, we need to run a commercial. The phone lines are open, 270-495-0315. We got great guests that I know that you would like to talk to, maybe ask a question. But, hey, when we come back, we've got a question from the show prep. What advice would you give for newbies getting into the hobby? And while you're thinking about that, listen to this. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger Magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger Magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger Magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on Relics Radio. No doubt about it, the premier magazine for metal detecting is American Digger Magazine. And by the way, Jocelyn has a regular column in American Digger, and I'm going to put in one more plug because in the January-February issue, my article on the Great Silver Horde with Jeff Ford, Wes Stringer, and Chris Heimsoff will be coming out in that issue. And speaking of Chris Heimsoff, we've got him on the line. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, guys. I'm really enjoying the show. Man, already told me some stuff I need to keep in mind about some of my coins I've dug. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, he was great.
Well, geez, you're all over the place, man. Because I got a message in me, and now he's on the phone. Jeez.
Hey, I would like to know, Drew, if you and Jocelyn have hunted the Hans Her house yet.
No, I don't think they're going to let us. I don't think they're going to let us detect there. But we still haven't even taken a trip over there. I've been wanting to do that, and it just seems like every time I turn around, something comes up, and I can't get over there. So, we got to make that. We got to make that a trip.
That was the spooky story that Drew told during the Halloween. One of the Halloween episodes on one of the podcasts or one of the radio shows, if you guys remember.
Yeah, that was.
It was the follow up to Josh's show. Yep.
Yeah, that was good. Well, the other thing I was going to say was, man, congratulations on your YouTube channel. That's going great, guys.
Oh, I'm having fun, and you know what? I was really surprised because I was waiting for. the nasty comments and the stupid comments from people that I just can't seem to get along with here and there. But out of all the videos that have come out so far, and me and Josh were just talking about this the other night, I've only had one person make a stupid comment on any of my videos, which has been awesome.
So,
the feedback.
If you want some bad comments,
start
rubbing those. If you want some bad comments, just start rubbing those silver coins when you take them out of the ground.
I'm going to, and you know what? I'm going to because I did that in the one video. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to tick a lot of people off, but you know what? I don't care. It's my coin, and I'll do whatever I want with it.
Yeah, I just watched that one this evening. That was great, and I'll use that for now on. This is my coin. I'll do what I want to with it. And then you just wait on them bad comments because anybody that does good in this hobby, you're always going to have somebody that hates it. And then, of course, they're going to leave bad comments. It doesn't matter what. So.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, listen, I get to see I get to see both ends of the spectrum. Like I said earlier, I get to see the collector side, I get to see the digger side, and I have a pretty rare opportunity to interact with both communities. And but it really surprises me how many diggers really don't have the coin knowledge. I mean, that's probably one of the most prevalent things that we find is coins, more coins than relics, I would say. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's not the case for everybody. I mean, especially, well, probably not the Civil War hunt guys, just because they're out digging more bullets than anything. I wish I was in their shoes some days. But just the general, man, I just don't see a lot of people with the coin knowledge. And it's like, it drives me nuts. It's like, how do you not know this? Like, but I guess it's because I'm so used to it and I've been doing it for so long. It is what it is, but pick up a book.
Jocelyn,
Drew,
don't ever run over there to him and say, Drew, what is this? And he'll respond to you.
I do that at least every time we're out.
Do you not know what this is?
It drives. It drives her viewers. Drives her viewers nuts because I'll take whatever she's got and I'll go, yeah, it's a piece of junk, and I throw it right back in the hole.
Oh, they lose it. They absolutely lose it.
See,
now I just do it on purpose just because I know.
Yeah, I'm not a coin guy at all, and of course that's one reason I like to listen to hear you talk about coins, because that gives me ability to go out and look. Well, what is this coin? Then I can get the red book and all that, and then just see kind of what I do have.
Hey guys, go ahead. We've got another caller on though, 3735. Who we got on the line?
Hey, this is Nugget Brian Wayne in Colorado. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing.
Hello.
Hi there.
We're doing great. You got a question for Jocelyn or Drew?
I got a question for both of them.
Great.
Okay.
Have they been out panning for gold since they were taught last year at the Garriott Hunt with their kids?
Actually, we were panning for gold in Ohio at Fosdick.
Awesome. I'm glad I had the opportunity to help you guys. Good. That's the only question I really had. I'm glad that you're on the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again at the Garriott Hunt in March. We will be there again. So bring the kids out, and they can pan for gold all day long while you guys are out metal detecting. We're the babysitters.
That sounds great. Oh,
we're the babysitters.
I love it.
Okay.
We're your babysitters.
God bless you guys, and you take care. We'll see you at the show. And continue on with an awesome show like always.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks
now,
for the call.
That's the first time I would ever say, well, I want to hang with the babysitter. Is if he's panning for gold, that's, hey, I want to
Oh, funny.
Oh, me.
I don't know. Growing up, I kind of liked hanging out with my babysitters.
There he goes again, putting that big old foot in that mouth.
I do it all the time. But you know what? I do it on purpose, though.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, he does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my wife swears up down I do it on purpose, and then most of the time I do. So,
you know, it's funny when we first started dating. When we first started dating, I could get her to turn as purple as her hair. Now it doesn't faze her anymore.
Hey, Wayne, did you have something else that you was wanting to ask or say?
No, I just wanted to know if they were out gold prospecting, and I had the opportunity to teach Drew and Jocelyn and the kids how to pan for gold, and I think it was to the point where Drew was dragging the kids away and Jocelyn's going, let's get going, and she would try. and the kids just wouldn't leave. So.
I don't blame them.
I don't either.
They loved it. They loved scanning for gold. And then I turn around and they'd be gone, and I'm like, where did they go? And then sure enough, I'd find them right back over there scanning for gold.
Yeah, we left an hour later because of you guys. We wanted to head home, but your kids just wouldn't leave, and I'm not going to break down until everything's done.
Listen, let me explain something to you. Whenever Jocelyn's involved, you're going to be on Jocelyn time. Okay, always expect to be an hour later. Doesn't matter what it is; it's always an hour later.
All right.
Well, we know why, because she messes with the clocks. She runs the clocks back or
Drew,
forward,
that's what I was thinking.
or whatever she needs.
My wife has got her clock in her car set up where she won't be late. So, but she's still late either way, so it doesn't matter.
So, Drew, you're giving me the indication to set my clock an hour and a half later. So when I show her the time, she'll realize it's time to go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, good advice, Wayne, and we appreciate the call, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, Wayne.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, he's talking about the Garriott Hunt. Won't you all kind of elaborate on that? When is that hunt, and just what everybody can expect by coming there?
Oh, when is that hunt?
It is the end of March, I believe. I don't have the dates right in front of me, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know if we're going to be attending this year. There was something else that we were looking at going to like the week before, and we weren't quite sure if it was going to work for us or not this year. I'd like to go. They ordered a bunch of coins from me again this year for prizes and stuff. So if nothing else, at least my coins will be there.
Mark Hoover just put March the 31st is when it is.
I think
there we go.
It in April this year?
No, it's the end of March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Hoover said it's March 31st.
Okay, all right.
And I tell you,
I think somebody said April, and then it was like, no, it's March.
Yeah.
Somebody said it was in April, and I'm like, I don't think it is. Okay, so it is in March.
Yeah,
okay.
it's March the 31st. And
29th, 30th, and 31st.
We'll be in Virginia in Culpeper at that time, because that's when the DIV hunt is. One of them.
Yeah, well, it's the 25th. And I know, of course, I'm real good friends with Rusty Curry, and I know he was going to be a guest at the DIV hunt this year. And I don't know if he'll be able to make it to the DIV because of the Garriott Hunt or not. So I haven't talked to him in the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to Rusty all the time. He is such a good dude, man. He is one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Oh, he really is, man. Of course, he grew up a few miles from my house, and of course his family still lives here. And then he wandered off to Texas, and then of course we still talk quite often. But he is a great guy. Love hunting with him.
Hey, before we went to the commercial, we asked y'all one of the questions Jason asked: what advice would you give to newbies, and what do you wish that somebody had told you when you first started?
Oh. Well,
one of the things
advice I would give. Oh, I get to take that one, and then you can take the other one.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the advice that I would give is just to be persistent. I think so many people get frustrated and they give up too soon. And you just have to keep digging, because eventually you'll dig something really amazing, and it'll just keep you going into the next great thing. And people comment in my group all the time, and they're like, oh, all I've dug is, memorial pennies, and I'm not finding anything good. And they seem so discouraged, and it's like they see all these amazing things being dug on YouTube, and it's like it's just not how it works. And you'll see in some of my videos that's absolutely not how it works. I dig so much junk. And it's like, you just have to be persistent and you have to stick with it and learn your detector and do your research, and it gets better. But sometimes you still have bad days.
It does. And, we keep our videos real because we relic hunt most of the time. And, you'll go out some days and all you dig is junk. And every now and then, you'll have
Drew
a day.
And I every day.
Yeah. And every once in a while, you get a great surprise. A while ago, Drew was talking about coins and said that, a lot of the relic hunters don't dig a lot of coins. Now, they do in New England, but we don't down here. But when we dig a coin, it's generally a pretty good coin. It's either a real, a cap bust, or something old. We don't dig too many like that. But it's a rare occasion that we do that. We may go a month or two and not dig a real good coin. So great advice. Just be persistent. Just keep digging those holes. Now, what were you going to say, Drew?
I was going to kind of allude to the same thing. Dig everything, learn your machine, take the time, and it doesn't matter what machine you're using. They're all going to find you stuff. Find the one that works for you. But like I get questions all the time like, well, what's the best machine to buy? Don't necessarily buy the best machine. Buy something that's simple because, say you go out and spend $2,500 on a brand new CTX 3030 and you find that the hobby is not for you. Well, now you got a really expensive wall decoration. Just start out simple. Start out simple, join a club, meet some people, have a good time, keep it simple. Don't expect to make a living off of it. Don't expect to get rich off of it. Do it because you enjoy it. Don't do it because you want to be the greatest detectorist in the world because, when it comes down to it, it's a hobby. It's something like, I put my headphones on and I forget about all the day-to-day troubles, and it's solitude for me. It's relaxing, and then I get to hang out with I've met some of my best friends. I've got people that I consider family that I've met because of the hobby. And now don't get me wrong, there's some not so nice people out there, but they're very far and few in between. There's more good than there is bad. But you'll have that anywhere you go in any hobby you're in. And just enjoy yourself. Do it for the right reasons. If you're in it for the wrong reason, you're not going to enjoy yourself. You're not going to have a good time. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to want to walk away from it. Fines will come. Fines are a bonus. It's the people and the friendships that you make along the way that are more important than the stuff that you're finding, because that stuff is it's going to come. It's there. You got to do a little bit of research to get on a good spot. You're going to find stuff. That's what you do. But meet people, have a good time, go to these seated hunts. People turn their nose up at seated hunts, but you know what? I love going to seated hunts. I don't care about the stuff that's there. I don't care about the prizes. I don't care about the things I'm finding. It's a social event for me. I get to talk to like-minded people. But also for people that are inexperienced and new to the hobby, it's something that will help you. There's silver coins there. There's coppers in the ground. There's bullets in the ground. You're going to get to learn your machine by going to these seated hunts, and have a good time. The after parties are usually pretty good too.
But
especially if you're hanging out with the boys that bring the moonshine.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm all in on that. Speaking of research, how do you two guys go about your research?
I'll let you take this one, dear.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Well, one of my favorite places to dig are old home sites, and especially home sites that are no longer there, specifically in old fields. So in order to find those old home sites, I do a lot of map overlays. So really that's the bulk of my research. I use map. I think my oldest map resource is from 1858. So I'll sit at home and I'll kind of play with the maps and look at fields and find places where, oh, look, there was a home site there. For instance, the place where I just found that New Jersey copper, that's a site that Andrew and I have been hitting since last spring. And we've found
not a New Jersey copper.
It is a New Jersey copper. And I found my other New Jersey copper less than a mile from that one. But
that was not a Jersey copper either.
So we found that site from doing map overlays because it was like, hey, there was. So I wandered this field for at least 2 days looking for this site after I realized that there had been a home site in this field. And so, the research doesn't stop at doing the overlays and figuring out, oh, there was a home site in this field. Then I wander the field aimlessly for days until I find brick or pottery or some sign that, oh, there was a home site here. And then, of course, if you have your detector, you'll start hearing the iron, and then you'll start finding relics and coins. So I think that's really what I do mainly as far as research. Sometimes I'll go a little bit deeper than that. I look at a lot of the county histories, and I'll look for old taverns, old picnic grounds, those sort of things. But I'm perfectly content just looking at old maps, really. But another research that Andrew and I really like is Gaia GPS, and I've talked about that in a couple of my videos. It's actually an app that you can get for your phone. And if you get the premium version, you can do overlays. So you can overlay current GPS with like 1900 topos. And so when you're driving, it shows, you're driving, but it's like a 1900 topo. So you look out your window and you see a field, but on the topo it says, there was a house there. So then you track down the farmer and you're like, can I auto protect your field? And sure enough, there was a house there. So that's great, but it only goes back to 1900. And in some areas, it doesn't even go back to 1900, which we found out the other day when we were visiting our friend Mike. So in his area, it was only back to 1930. So it kind of depends.
But some of those old house sites, and this is for people that don't do the topo maps, some of those older sites that you find, like in our county here, our oldest map is 1929. Our next one is 1939. I find the 1929 house sites, and then I look on the 39. If it's gone, then I know that was an old house site already in 1929.
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, we use. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say, like that house that the home site that we found that we've been hammering, where I got the New Jersey copper. That specific home site.
Not a Jersey copper.
Where I found my
It's going to turn into one.
This is going to be a 3-hour show. I already see it.
I'm going to get that framed, and I'm going to put it on the wall, and he's going to have to stare at it every single day until he looks at it and he says, you know what, I think that is a New Jersey copper. But anyway, the home site was there on the 1858 map, but it was gone by 1900. So like you said, we knew that it was old if it was gone by 1900, and it was there in 1858. And sure enough, the relics that we're pulling out of there go back to the 1700s. So it was there, for a while. And another thing, when we're looking at these sites, we look for the home sites that were removed early. We love that because when they removed the home sites early on, they reused everything, and they took them down piece by piece. They reused the logs, they reused the timber, and there's a lot less trash. Whereas when they come through, like we were at a cellar hole, what was that, like 2 weeks ago, Andrew? And it was brought down by a snowstorm in 1994. A snowstorm brought it down, so they just went back and bulldozed it. So it's just like scattered with all sorts of, and it's just a nightmare. But it stinks because it's a cellar hole. It's really old, and so yeah, I think, I don't know. Andrew, do you want to elaborate on my answer?
That's not a New Jersey
No,
copper.
I think you covered. No, you know what though? There's other things you can look at too. You can go to the old-fashioned way and go to your local library, and you can peruse old newspapers. Some of them still have the microfilm. Some of them have them digitized now, and you can look for articles on picnics and different news stories you can look at too. It sounds kind of morbid, but you can search for drownings at the local swim hole, and it'll help you locate places that people used to congregate because, like we know, anywhere that people have been, they have lost things. So you want to look for places where groups of people congregate, old fairgrounds that may not be there anymore, places where the traveling carnivals came through and set up, different things like that. So the maps are great. We love using the maps, but I like perusing old newspapers and articles and stuff and looking for events that have happened. There's a wealth of knowledge right there just in those old newspapers.
And I think that's an
the other thing,
untapped resource is
the other
old stories.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's you can go to your local Barnes and Noble, and they have those. It's a series of books. I think it's put out by Arcadia Publishing. They're like the old postcard series, and most of them are like town specific, or subject specific, and you can pick those books up. Those books are like, I don't know, $15 to $20 a piece in that range, and they have old photographs and different things that were going on in that town in the past. And again, it's obscure information that you may not find on the internet. So again, I'm back to the whole book thing. I mean, if you saw my library of books, Joss will tell you I'm a huge book nerd. I think I've got just as many books as I do coins, and that's a lot. So,
hey guys, before we run out of anything to talk about, which I don't think is ever going to happen, but we are going to give a metal detector away tonight. So I'm starting a live video right now on Facebook. It's on the Relics Radio Facebook group page, and if you are on live there, what I'm showing you is the list of entries that we have, and I'm just going to scroll down the list. If you need to, you can stop that and look at all the numbers. We've got one number that is out, number 96. That's the one we drew last week and never did get any confirmation on that. So now I'm going to go over to the random number generator, and I've already put in 1 to 239, and this 9 over here is nothing. I mean, that's just what it was when I pulled it up. So we're going to generate right now, and the number is 173. Let's go back over to the list and see who we've got. We've got Jess Code. Jess Code, if you're listening, you've got 10 minutes to call in to the show and claim your prize. So we're going to stop right now, and you guys can talk. I didn't see Jess Code in, and I doubt that he's going to call. But we'll give him a few minutes, and we'll see. So go back
to... If he's not there, that means I get it, right?
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do on this. If we draw a whole bunch of these and nobody is there, I don't know I don't know exactly what we do with it.
Yeah, I'm going back to the comments.
Well, Christmas is Tuesday, and let's see, you can have that shipped out tomorrow, and I might actually get it by then.
You may do it. I don't know. You never know. And seriously, guys, I doubt that we get a call on that. I seriously doubt it. But I did put that that's the way that's the way we were going to do it tonight. And I said I'd give them 10 minutes, so we got to talk at least another 10 minutes, and then we got to draw it again, I guess. I tell you what we're going to do on the next one. If you have not been in the chat, we're not gonna do it. I mean, this metal detector is given away by Relic Radio, and you need to be supporting Relic Radio. This metal detector is being given away by Murray Branch Outdoors. You need to be supporting them. And if you're not in the chat, you're not supporting us. And so, I hate to be hard-nosed about it, but we could do this till the cows come home out of 239 people that just said, oh, I may put my name in there. You know how that goes. So we're going to give him a few minutes, and if that doesn't work, I'm not going to do another live video because that is very cumbersome for me here in the studio. I'm just going to start drawing numbers out, and we'll go with that.
Yeah. So, Drew and Jocelyn, do y'all do much Civil War relic hunting?
No. Why are you laughing? No,
just because I think it's funny. I really enjoy the Civil War period, but she gets more excited about the colonial. So it's kind of like, we talk about, hey, let's go dig this Civil War site, and she'll go, yeah, I'd rather go dig a colonial home site. And I'm like, okay, well, I'd rather dig anything rather than nothing, so let's just go. And but
hey, Gary Pinta, Drew, Gary Pinta wanted you, whenever you finish your comment there, he wanted you to talk about hold coins, where they hold them to sew them in. Well, you can tell us why they did that. I don't know.
Well, you got several reasons. There's two reasons off the top of my head that I can think of. Number one, the coin was nailed to a door frame or above a door or somewhere in the house. It was a good luck thing. When I was younger, I worked for a general contractor, and if we would redo an old house, and I would check the fireplace mantle, or even in the frames of the windows, people would stash a coin from, say, the year the house was built, and it was a good luck thing. But a lot of times they would have nailed it somewhere in the house. Then the other reason is they didn't have pockets like we have pockets. They had these little dinky little, if you even want to call it a pocket. So the chances of losing stuff were much greater. But not only that, if they were traveling and they were afraid of getting robbed, they would sew their coins into their clothing, so the robbers wouldn't be able to find them, in essence. So there's a couple reasons for that. That's what I can think of off the top of my head. This is true. Yeah. Yep. If they didn't like now, I'll tell you what. And I see this with Canadian coins, especially with the French Canadians. They will take like a nail or something, and they will gouge out the Queen's face, because the French Canadians do not like the English Queen. So you'll see that happen on coins as well. But yeah. I mean it's a pretty simple subject.
Yeah, Drew, I've always heard that if you find a large cent that's been holed in the center, they use them as like washers or something on the roof, because a washer costs more than a penny, so they would just use the large cent. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily true as far as the roofs go, but I was just talking to somebody the other day, Riley Bryant, because Joss had found a copper that was kind of wiped, but the edge was like carved all the way around, and it could have been used as a spur rowel. They would take coins and coins would be used for different things. They would make whizzers, toys out of them, or they would put holes in them and make buttons out of them. There's several different things that they would use the coins for. My boss, he's 68 years old, and he lived out in Tucson, Arizona for many years, and he worked on it. He used to buy a lot of cars and work on cars and stuff too. So the washers for doing the body work were, a little more expensive than he wanted to spend. So he would get Mexican coins that were worth like next to nothing, that you could get for next to nothing. And he would drill holes in these Mexican coins and use them for washers on these cars when he's doing body work, putting fender panels back on and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, look, coins have a utilitarian use in a lot of areas too as well. I think, Joss, you had found an instance where a coin was used for a pie, the pie crimper cutter thing or whatever.
Yes.
So I mean, they were used for other things besides coins. You have to remember too, I think it was 1857 or 1859, one of those 2 years, Congress passed a law that foreign coins were no longer legal tender here in the United States. They wanted to start focusing on just using the coins that were struck here in the United States. So it was something they were trying to get away from. So that now you've got these Spanish coins and you've got German coins and all kinds of stuff that basically had no monetary value. I mean, people were still using them. Of course, they're going to use them if they've got them, but they were coming up with other uses for them besides just coins. So,
that's pretty interesting.
There's definitely several utilitarian uses for them. Absolutely.
Hey, good information. And I found them where they've made buttons, and I found them where they made whizzers and what have you. Hey, I run another number. Our 10 minutes was up. I didn't think we'd get a call out of that. I've got number 11 is the next one that come up, and let me go up the list here and see who is number 11. Dennis Gretchencourt. Dennis is in the house, and so I know we're going to give it away now. Hey, Dennis, give us a call, 270-495-0315, and we'll give you this metal detector and get it out to you in the mail tomorrow.
Sorry, Drew. I know you wanted that Gold 544.
His address is 1921 Ripley Street. I got his address right here. I got it covered. I'll give it to you.
You'll call in for him, won't you, Drew?
Somebody wake Dennis up.
Yeah, I'm already on the line.
I'm already on
the line. There we go.
And who is this on the line? Oh, this is Dennis Gretchencourt. Come on, Dennis, call us here. I know that you were on. I'd hate for you to lose this by dropping us and getting off the phone or getting off of everything. I see the last thing that he put in here was Night Bill, and that wasn't too far back, so I don't know. Dennis Gretchencourt, we are calling for you to call into the show. 270-495-0315. Claim this metal detector. I want it out of the studio. I've looked at the thing for 2 months now. Oh, and there was something that they put in chat there a while ago that I was waiting on, and waiting for a break to say something. I'm trying to see who it was. I think it was Chris Heimsoff. But Jeff said, do y'all do any Civil War hunting? And Chris Heimsoff said the last Civil War site that they hunted, Jocelyn found a New Jersey copper.
No, she didn't.
Oh. 6845, who have we got on the line?
This is Dennis.
Oh, great, Dennis. Congratulations on winning this metal detector. So glad that
that's awesome.
That you called in. And those of you that don't know, Dennis is very good on our show preps, always asking a good question. In fact, he's the one that asked the question tonight, how did you guys meet? So have you got something that you want to say to Jocelyn and Drew while you're on the line?
Yeah, Drew, the correct answer is yes, dear. And Jocelyn, You can say whatever you want.
Now
New Jersey Copper.
that is a wise man right there. That is a man that has he has been around, sure has. Hey, Dennis.
47 years of wedded bliss.
47 years. Congratulations. You're almost as old as I am, sounds like.
We're pretty close. I'm 66.
I'm 68. I'll be 68 Sunday. And now Mark Hoover and them will tell you that I've been around since the Dead Sea was just sick, but that's not true.
Yeah. Well, I told everybody on chat that you still had your newspapers from the 1800s.
I do have that, but they were hand delivered. They didn't mail them back then. Hey, Dennis, message me on the Relics Radio Facebook group message thing. Give me your address and everything, and congratulations to you. And be sure and when you get that, take a picture of it and send it to us or post it there on the Relics Radio group page. And many thanks to Tim Henderson and Murray Branch Outdoors for this kind gift.
Yes, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Roy, Jeff, Josh, Drew, everybody. It's pretty. My grandson was going to love this. So,
well, we're glad that.
That's good.
Glad that it's going to a good home, and I'll let you get back to listening to the final 4 hours of this show, I guess.
I was thinking my stomach's rumbling. I hadn't ate supper yet.
I hadn't either. And we normally get off about 8:30, and then me and Jeff go and eat. But situation the way it was tonight, it's good. But thanks so much for calling in, and congratulations on winning the detector. And we'll
Thanks so much.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Get that info to you.
Okay. Thanks. And everything worked out just great tonight. Anything that y'all want to add before we close the show out, Jocelyn, other than that is a New Jersey copper?
No, it's not.
Everybody knows it. Everybody who watched the video knows that it's a New Jersey copper, Andrew.
You turned it in your hand there, and it was in the light there for just a second. You may have to go back to the video and pause it. Yeah. But there's one point where the light hits it just right, and I said, that's a New Jersey copper. And,
exactly. See?
And then here comes...
All right. Okay, smart girl. Here's what you're getting for Christmas. You're getting the encyclopedia on the Jersey coppers, and now you're going to have to figure out what variety it is out of the 82 different combination obverses. Let's see.
What difference does it? What difference does it make, Drew? It's a New Jersey copper.
No, it's not.
77 DD Type 1. So, boom.
She's been researching that for a while, hasn't she?
She's got it all figured out.
I've been staring at it for 3 days.
And I know that you guys have seen this happen before, because me and Jeff were hunting the other day, and I dug a hole, and there was a Cohen that came out of the hole, and I saw the Indian headdress, and I thought, well, I've got an Indian head penny. And so I holler at Jeff, because we're filming everything, and I told him, I said, I got an Indian head. And then I go to cleaning it off, wiping it off, and it's a memorial. And I said, that thing changed. That was an Indian head whenever I first seen it. So strange things happen, even out of 5 Mile Holler. Hey, tell us what you guys, go ahead and plug all your channels real quick, your YouTube channels, Facebook channels, and everything.
All right. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Relic Recoverist. That's simple.
and also the Crazy Lamp Lady.
Oh, yes, Crazy Lamp Lady. Can't forget her. She's also on YouTube. You can find her by looking up the Crazy Lamp Lady.
And starting Monday, which I don't know what the date will be on that, the New Jersey Copper Girl, new video channel coming.
And this is the last time I come on this show.
Hey, you had half of the show, more than half of the show by yourself, you know. The smart thing for you
and
to
it was nice. It was quite nice. I got to talk about real coins, not fake Jersey coppers.
So funny. Just wait until I edit the thumbnail for Drew's next video for this hunt, and I'm going to put a giant New Jersey copper right over it.
Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait to see it. I can't. And be sure and tell everybody. Be sure and tell everybody to come over to Relics Radio and listen to the archive of this show, because it is proof. I saw it. I mean, it's a New Jersey copper, isn't it, Jeff? You've seen it. Yeah. Go ahead and plug your old channel too, Drew.
Yeah. I just started that, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's been going really good. It's Naughty Dog Treasures. And my mascot is a pooping dog. Which is, hey, listen. That has got to be, that little fireworks toy has got to be one of my favorite things I've ever found. Just like, I could not stop laughing about that. Even the homeowner, she's like, oh my God, it's a pooping dog.
I can't say that I've ever found one of those.
Yeah, I can't either. I ever have.
You know what's really funny? I was just talking to Frankie Bonanno from the Whites field team was in my shop today, and he was saying, he's like, didn't you find one of those before? I said, no. I said, we were out with DJ and Cody dug one, and that was a couple years ago. And it's funny because he was hunting with the MineLab E-Track, and I found mine with my MineLab E-Track. So it's like it's just like really, those are the only ones I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody else dig those before. It's just it's really cool, a little cool fireworks toy. Now I got to go out and get some snakes and do some creative filming with the pooping dog and the snakes and. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, that'll make for a good video.
Hey, real quick, tell us about the Cobra that y'all used on your promo picture.
Oh, that thing.
I told you guys this was going to be a fun show. Nobody believed me. I knew this was going to be a fun show.
See, here's what happens. She buys things for resale, and she figures out that they're duds, and then I get stuck with them as gifts.
No. No, I saw that Cobra ashtray, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think that Drew would want to have this, and he would love to have this Cobra ashtray, and I had to buy it for him. So I brought it, and I gave it to him, and clearly, he just didn't appreciate it the way that I thought he would by the look on his face.
Well, maybe now after all that he said about that New Jersey copper, maybe it'll bite him.
Well, I appreciate it enough that I allow it to sit on my dresser.
Well, hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that means a lot for a man to put something on his dresser. I mean, it really means a lot to him.
See?
Especially when it's staring at him every time.
I am so...
It's right next to my... It's right next to my Lego pirate ship. Thank you very much.
I am so glad that you guys are not under the same roof tonight, because I tell you what, y'all have time to cool down before you see each other again. I cannot tell you how happy that I am and everything that you guys agreed to come on and be with us tonight. You've been great guests.
Yes, you have. You've been really great.
I'm sorry about the hiccup with the kids, but I think it worked out.
It worked out fine because, Drew got to talk as much as he wanted to. Really, really good information.
I mean, he's like an encyclopedia. I mean, on
man.
Coins. I mean, that's next time I find a coin, hey, who am I going to? It's going to be you.
The first half of this show, Jocelyn, everybody in the chat was saying, man, this guy is smart. The last half of this show, everybody said, That boy is a fool.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, just joking with y'all. Hey, if y'all ever come down to or ever pass through Kentucky or Tennessee, y'all stop by. I want to take you to 5 Mile Holler, and we'll take you to some Civil War sites.
I was just going to say that. I want to get into that 5 Mile Holler. I want to play with the ghosts.
Okay.
And actually, we were sitting here earlier, and I was thinking about it, and I felt something hitting me on the back of the neck, and I turned around, and I think it turned out to be just my my collar was blowing in the wind from the fan. But kind of like, what the crap?
Hey, guys, enjoyed having y'all on, and we are right at the top of the hour. We did have a 2-hour show. This is our longest show that we've had so far, but probably one of our best, too. So we certainly
do. The hardest we've ever tried to give away a metal detector.
Yes, it is. But we got her done. I tell you what, we sure did. And congratulations to Dennis, and thank you for all the calls that we had. We had some great calls. And just thank you guys for coming and being with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. This was fun.
I had a good time. I'm sure I'll hear more about it tomorrow. But yep, we're good. It's still not a Jersey Copper.
It is a New Jersey Copper, Andrew.
Yeah. And I tell you what, Jocelyn, you know what I'm going to say the first time I meet y'all face to face. That's a New Jersey Copper.
And I'm going to say, no, it ain't.
Now, Jeff's on Drew's side. I'm on Jocelyn's side. I seen it in the video. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us.
Well, at least we know who's got the brains then, right, Jeff?
Well, that's right.
And with that, I'm fixing to mute y'all's mic and close this show out. Hey, you guys hang on the line for just a second, and we'll holler at you before we hang up. Hey guys, if you like metal detecting shows like this, and wasn't this a ball? I tell you, it was a lot of fun. Check out Beyond Sight and Sound with Josh Kimmel on Sunday night and Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. All Metal Mode is on Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. American Digger Relic Roundup is on Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. History Seekers is on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Hardcore Metal Detecting has shows on Thursday and Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern. And then XP Team USA has a show every other Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And I want to remind you also that the American Digger South Carolina Low Country Civil War Artifact Show and Sale is going to be January the 5th and 6th. That's at the Omar Shrine Temple in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, just across the bridge from Charleston, South Carolina. And Jeff and I know Butch Holcomb and some of the other shows, we're going to be there, and we're going to be doing a live show from that event January 5th and 6th. But we will be back next Thursday night for another show. So come and be with us and enjoy some more fun. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or iTunes. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Digging with Seven or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.